biometrics. Identity is the heartbeat of our world. The engine of online security. The identity engine. Powering our online lives. Welcome to Identiverse.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage Conference Chair for Identiverse 2024, Andy Hindle.
How good was that? So welcome. Seriously, that was awesome. And I only got to see it on this little tiny screen backstage, so it looked pretty good. Let's have another big round of applause please for our artists, Ivy, and for those. So, in case you hadn't noticed, it's our 15th birthday this year. That's hold on. Good, but wait a minute. It's our 15th birthday this year. Right, good. It's our biggest ever event by some considerable margin, so thank you for coming and sharing our 15th birthday with us. I had the distinct pleasure earlier on of getting to drop into the newcomer session that we ran at noon, just to say hi to this incredibly crowded room. We have a lot of people here who have not been to Identiverse before. It's a little difficult to see, but maybe those people who are new this year, oh look at that, magic. Those people who are new this year, just let's get a show of hands, please. Wow, yes, fantastic. Thank you for coming, that's wonderful. And I noticed earlier on in the newcomer session, there are a few people who were there who've been here before, so if you put your hands up now, you weren't listening to me earlier. Behave. No, it's brilliant to see so many new people, and I'm really, really glad you came. We've also, I think, got a few folks in the audience, and I won't ask you to put your hands up, who've been here since the very beginning. And so what I'm hoping is that in another 15 years' time, at our 30th birthday, all the new people who are here today will be there then, and then we'll get everybody to go, yes, I've been here for a really long time. So, there's lots of other birthdays and anniversaries this year. OpenID Connect celebrates, I think, their 10th anniversary this year. Kantara has their 10th birthday. Thank you. And we've got a number of actual individual birthdays happening as well. So look, I know it's Vegas. Don't go too hard, right? Remember that we still have work to do here. So, as you know, Identiverse is proud to be a part of the Cyber Alliance family. And so to join me in welcoming everyone to this year's conference, this year's event, it's my pleasure to introduce John Whelan, who's the president of Cyber Alliance, here on stage. John.
As Andy says, I'm John Whelan. I'm president of Cyber Alliance, and it's my pleasure and honor to be part of the team to welcome you to Identiverse 2024. Okay, so for those of you who don't know us yet, Cyber Alliance is a rapidly growing information and business intelligence platform that exclusively serves the cybersecurity community. Through our network of trusted information and information brands, we serve and accelerate the careers of the cybersecurity community, and we provide them with the tools and insights to help them navigate cybersecurity challenges that are becoming increasingly complex and global in nature. How we do that is we deliver our information through a very carefully curated and integrated network of marquee information brands such as Identiverse, SC Identity, SC Media, the Security Weekly podcast platform, InfoSec World, MSSP, Official Cybersecurity Summits, and the Cyber Risk Collaborative, which is a fast-growing CISO network of around 1,500 members so far. So we've been around for about 5 years, and our community is really starting to develop. This year alone, we will welcome, I think, somewhere in the region of 50,000 cybersecurity practitioners, executives, and innovators to, I think, over 200 in-person and virtual events around the country. And we will serve our news, analysis, information, and research to about 500,000 digital subscribers on a daily and weekly basis. And behind all the content production sits an amazing team of in-house content producers backed by a network of about 1,800 SMEs and practitioners that help shape the agendas, create the programming, and deliver the content across our rapidly expanding network. Now, Identiverse has been part of the CRA family, I think now for a little over 3 years. And what excited us at the beginning and what continues to excite us today is this amazing community in identity that Identiverse brings together. It's drawn from all sorts of disciplines, all different kinds of backgrounds, and drawn together to innovate, to share knowledge, share ideas, express passion for the future of identity, and to do that in ways that are truly inspiring and exciting along the way. The identity community at CRA is also beginning to expand very nicely. As Andy said earlier on, Identiverse 2024 is going to set some records for attendance, the biggest ever. It's a tribute to you guys, the community, for the commitment and support, so thank you for that. Thank you to the team that's making this all possible. And the platform continues to grow. We are, due to demand, we're going to continue to add regional one-day Identiverse events into the second half of the year. It's a way to keep the engagement, the community talking, exchanging ideas and networking throughout the rest of the year. And I mentioned earlier on that we launched a newsletter called SC Identity about 6 months ago as a companion piece to Identiverse, to sort of create or foster a sort of a deeper group. We reached a milestone about a couple of months ago, about 50,000 subscribers. And it's a milestone in its own right, but what's really significant, because based upon what we are, which is this big cybersecurity platform, I think it represents a leading indicator of just how important the topic of identity is becoming within the cybersecurity ecosystem. So lots of improvement, lots of things to build on, but if you're interested in participating, finding out ways to get involved, we have a Cyber Risk Alliance booth. I think it's situated next to the registration area. So drop by, we're there, we're always happy to talk, share ideas, whatever, nothing's too crazy. Now, I wanted to share, to finish off with a couple of thank yous, important thank yous. So first of all, I'd like to say thanks to the amazing sponsors and exhibitors for their generous support of Identiverse, for their passionate commitment to the identity community, and for making this possible, their commitment and support for what we do every year to bring us all together. We really appreciate that. Please feel free to drop by, go to the exhibit hall, engage, participate. They're great people, so thank you. I'd also like to thank you the 250 speakers at this year's event for the hours they've put in to create some incredible content, some innovative education, and so on, and to create, I think, the strongest agenda we've had in some time. So thank you to those guys as well. Thank you. Now, Andy is going to kill me for this because we had a little conversation earlier on, and he doesn't know this is about to happen. All right, so sorry. Okay. So one of the anniversaries he didn't mention on stage a little while ago is, despite his incredibly youthful appearance, this is actually Andy's 10th year as conference chair and head of the content program at Identiverse. An incredible milestone. Now, this is where it gets a little tricky. The other thing I wanted to bring up on stage is that Andy really likes whiskey. So, right. Now, some people know Andy. Okay, good. And so one of the things, again, I want to point out, Identiverse didn't drive him to drink, that's not what we're saying. But what we do know is that every year Andy likes to combine 3 of his favorite things at Identiverse. Right? One is anything to do with identity. He loves that. Second is a nice bottle of malt, single malt scotch. And then his friends to enjoy it and help him drink it. So this year, as a sort of small token of our appreciation for his partnership, for his energy and vision, and And for everything he's done to make Identiverse what it is today, we'd like to present him with something. And it's John in the background, and Andy, this is incredibly unscripted by the way, so apologies, is John here? Yeah. There it is. Come on, let's round of applause for Andy. For the audience, the community, for your support, for coming here, for the participation. I hope you have a fantastic event. Thank you on behalf of everyone from CRA for coming. Enjoy your week. Thank you so much. Have a great show.
Good. Well, fine. He said it was unscripted, he wasn't joking. I just, give me a second. Okay. I hope you'll indulge me for a couple of minutes. Let me start that again. Thank you, John. So yeah, I hope you'll indulge me for a couple of minutes. I've been struggling with this question. Why am I here? I'm not having an existential crisis, it's fine. But I've been thinking about what it is that we really want to get out of this week that we get to have. So, look, we're in Vegas. And that means that there are lots of Vegas-y things to do. Like this, maybe. They did ask me, given that we are in Vegas, to mention a couple of important health and safety items during this talk. So, exits that way and that way. If you get horribly bored, I'm sure you can find your way to the casino floor. In the event that the atmosphere in the room should drop in any way, you will find that oxygen masks will drop from a compartment above your head. And please remember, this is very important in Vegas, you must stay hydrated at all times. Thank you. These are so much fun to play with. But in all seriousness, we're really here for the conference, we're here for the event, and for everything that it offers in terms of keynotes and sessions and the expo and the hallway conversations that we're all going to have. And most of those conversations, as usual, will be us talking about the nuts and bolts, the tools, if you will, of identity, and how we use those things in areas like security and privacy and safety and compliance, all of those things. This year, you're going to see a lot more conversation about the things that we build with those tools and what we can do with the things that we build with those tools. So for those of you that don't know, actually, let's see what happens. Who knows what that is? Okay, you can shout out, go on. Thank you. It's the George Bank Radio Telescope in the UK, which is, for those of you who haven't noticed, where I'm from. So this is the Lovell Telescope. It was the world's largest steerable dish radio telescope. It was built in 1957, which is quite a long time ago. To give you a sense of scale, it's a little hard to see back there, but the kind of blocky structure that's up near the dish, that's basically a 5-story building. It's huge. It's now the third largest steerable radio telescope in the world. There's a couple of others that were built since, but it's very, very, very big. Now, I'm not for 1 minute suggesting that we're going to use digital identity to build a radio telescope. That would be an interesting keynote talk, and somebody's taking notes and saying, 3 years' time, Andy's going to say that. But we are going to, and we do, build big things. We build inclusive, accessible, privacy-preserving, delightful digital places. Those places are enabled and protected by the identity systems that we build and operate. And in those digital places, we can do all the things that we need to do in our digital lives. We can open bank accounts, we can get healthcare, we connect with family and friends, we enjoy entertainment, We live our lives in these places that we build, enabled and protected by identity systems. That's really important. Who recognizes this? Oh, go on. Surely somebody recognizes this. Okay, good. So it's traditional, for those of you who've been coming for more than a year, it's traditional for somebody to get up on a stage at Identiverse and declare in stirring tones that something that clearly isn't is dead. Somebody earlier on said, "Are you going to say anything interesting in your talk?" I'm like, "I'm going to say something's dead." They went, "What, salmon?" This then is dead. Okay, good. Maybe it's not all dead. Maybe it's just mostly dead. And mostly dead is slightly alive. Thank you. Just checking to make sure I was in the right conference. But I think it needs some help. It needs a little change, and maybe it needs a miracle pill. So here's the change that I'm going to propose. We're using our identity tools to build security things, and to build privacy things, and to build digital experiences. But those things cannot be built without identity. It's not one little piece of this, it is this. If I'm right, then there's a huge explosion of opportunity over the course of the next 3 to 5 years. Luckily, if I'm wrong, there's a huge explosion of opportunity over the next 3 to 5 years. There's an awful lot going on. By the way, it's okay to be wrong. It's okay to experiment. Experiments are good. We mentioned Jodrell Bank earlier on. When they first designed Jodrell Bank, it was going to have a mesh dish. And so they designed everything for this big experiment with a mesh dish. And then about halfway through construction, they went, yeah, no, we did some science, and we think actually a solid dish would be better. And all the engineers were like, what? We designed for a very light structure, and now you want to build a very heavy structure. It very nearly didn't get built. I won't spend another 10 minutes explaining the history here, but it's really interesting. You should go read that. It's okay to be wrong, it's okay to experiment, but either way, if I'm right or if I'm wrong, there's a lot going to happen over the next 3 to 5 years. I think we're going to see massive advances in the fields that are currently part of identity. We're going to see new fields and disciplines emerging or being absorbed. And then all of that is happening in this context of a generational shift of the arrival of AI. So, as John said a little earlier, our program is quite large. It's hard to get a handle on everything. It's hard to know what to go to, right? And you can only go to one thing, right? Unless anyone's mastered cloning, you go to one thing. That's what you get to go to. So, this year, we're trying our own little experiment, right? We've partnered together with CRA, Identiverse have partnered with Snapsight. And we're going to try this experiment with an innovation that uses AI to help summarize everything that goes on this week. So to tell you a little bit more about that, I'd like to invite our partner, Jonathan Easton, co-founder of Snapsight, to tell you a little bit about how that works. Jonathan.
Thank you, Andy. Thanks for the quick intro. And hello, everyone. I'm super excited to be here at Identiverse because what a great show to be at. I love the spirit, I love the energy, and most importantly as well in terms of what's going to be lined up. So over the course of the next few days, you'll be having access to great content sessions, top-notch content sessions and keynotes. You get to listen to some amazing speakers, as well as attend hands-on masterclasses. In fact, some of these have already started. So there's such a great lineup of content that has been carefully curated for you by the Identiverse team. And in fact, I'm told that in total, there's going to be over 220 sessions across Identiverse. I think that's amazing from the content and knowledge perspective. Now that's great, but at the same time it can be challenging, right? Because with that amount of great content which is made available for you, how do you, as an attendee, make sense out of all of that? How do you get the most out of it? So that's why this year we are super happy to introduce Snapsight. So think of Snapsight as your personal AI assistant who will be attending all the sessions of the event for you, who will summarize them, and who will help you make sense of it all. So how is it going to work? And sorry, I forgot, all in real time. So how is it going to work? So Snapsight will be available across all the sessions and stages at Identiverse. So at the end of each session, there will be a Snapsight QR code that will be displayed on our screen. So all you have to do is scan it, and that will give you access to the Snapsight of that session right on your phone. So it's going to look like this, and it will give you access to the key takeaways of the session. So these are memorable nuggets of information of the most important things to remember from that session. There's also the idea cloud. So this is more of a visual representation of the main ideas of the session, and also how the ideas are connected to each other. The idea cloud also allows you to drill down into a particular idea if you want to find out more about that idea. And there's also an AI-generated summary of the actual content that was covered during the session. Snapsight is also multilingual, so by tapping on the language icon in the top right-hand corner, so you'll be able to switch languages. So for example here, in Spanish. And at this point, Snapsight caters for over 40 languages. So it's multilingual as well as shareable. So if there's any key takeaway that you find is interesting and is worth sharing, so you can just tap on the share icon of each takeaway, and you can then share it by email, WhatsApp, or any other social media you might be on. But most importantly, and last but not least, so by tapping on the menu icon in the top left-hand corner of the screen, so you'll then be able to even have access to the takeaways and summaries of all the other sessions across the event. So I think that's a great way for you to catch up on sessions that you might have wanted to attend, but you were never able to, because let's be frank, it's realistically impossible, right, to attend all the sessions of all the event. So with Snapsight now, so you'll be able to really focus on the session that you are in, without the fear of missing out on like what's happening in the other sessions, or missing out on an idea that you're trying to remember. So Snapsight will have your back. So do keep a lookout for the Snapsight QR codes at the end of each session. If you want to find out more about us, tomorrow we'll be at booth number 2111. But most importantly, so we hope that Snapsight will help you have a fruitful and productive Identiverse. And of course, at the same time, to have some fun. Thank you.
Thanks, Jonathan. So, you know, it's important to try new things, and I'm really excited about this. I've seen some of the output, even from just the sessions and masterclasses we had earlier today, and it looks like it could be really useful. So I encourage you to engage with that, to help us with this experiment, to see what works, and let us know what doesn't. But I really hope that it helps everyone, you know, get a handle on all of these things that are happening, because there's a lot, right? There's a lot of opportunity, a lot of excitement. And when you look at that from a distance, it's like fireworks, right? You look at it from a distance and you go, that's really exciting. It's really pretty. they look great from a distance. If you're in the middle of the fireworks, it's maybe not quite the same, right? And even here, where, okay, you might feel in the moment like you have some control, you're still surrounded by an enormous amount of activity and chaos and stuff, right? It's a little daunting. Or maybe you're in that moment and it's more like this. Yeah. Everyone wake now. So here's what I'd like to try and encourage you all to think. If you've ever watched a child engage with something new, there's that sense of fearlessness, that sense of kind of childlike wonder, right? Like, wow, how does this work? It's amazing. And a degree of trust that it's going to be okay. So I encourage you to try, if you can, to think about that this week, right? Think about, how do I approach this in a fresh way? How do I find somebody different to talk to? How do I get outside of my comfort zone and learn what else is new out there? How do I bring new people into all of this excitement and have them help me understand what's going on? We've got a lot of new people at the conference this year. We've got a lot of new speakers at the conference this year. We've got new members of our content committee who've done an incredible job helping to marshal all of this stuff, along with the folks that have been doing it for a number of years. Make use of all of that. So that's why I'm here. I'm here to be curious, to explore, to engage, and I hope you join me. Thank you. And so now, to help us kind of move things along, I'm utterly delighted to welcome the founder of Identiverse and the CEO of PING Identity, Durand.
What's up, Andre? Hey, Andre, what are you doing? Not much. Just working on a presentation. Oh yeah? So am I. What's yours about? Deep fakes. As in, if they're deep, how do you know they're fake? Good point. I mean, your video looks pretty real. I was going to say the same thing about yours. You could have fooled me. Well, you're easy to fool. You're not real. Hey, who are you calling not real? You fake. That's not very nice. Well, you look good. But what's my first dog's name? That's a good question. What's my dog's first name? I don't want to give my dog's first name to a fake. I asked you first. No one cares what your dog's first name is. You're a fake. Maybe. But if I look good enough and sound good enough to pass as you in this video, maybe I can get real people to do things for me. Like, wire me money. Hey, that's serious. Don't say that. You're going to make me look bad. Why do I care? I'm not you. I'm the real Andre. If you're so real, can you do this? Sure. What about this scar? Do you have this? Are you going to go around showing everyone your scar to prove it's you? Good luck with that. I've got a birthmark on my butt. Want me to show you that? I'll pass on that. But maybe I show you my signature on-screen authentication moves. Or give them my verbal password. I need to know your online verbal password to prove it's you. I thought we had gotten rid of those. Hey, don't be sad. All this AI stuff, it's just progress. How about a joke? Why don't deep fakes make good friends? Because you can never tell if they're being real with you.
The question is not, who are you? The question is who are you trusted to be? Like it or not, the future's coming faster than ever. Oh, hold on. Let me back up. Make sure I look at the same thing. Give me just a second here. There are moments in time where everything changes. These are tipping points. And what was the past becomes a past faster than ever. These event horizons are tipping points. They're fascinating, and they're characterized by 4 things. Number 1, positive feedback loops. These are self-reinforcing processes where a change in one direction amplifies a change in the same direction. Number 2, critical thresholds. These are points beyond which a system fundamentally changes behavior and they enter a new state of being. Number 3, interconnectedness. These are tipping points often manifest from complex systems with interconnected components. And number 4, non-linear responses, where a gradual change in input creates a sudden and dramatic change in output. We can witness these tipping points all around us. We see them in sudden bull and bear markets. We see them in social unrest. We're looking some semblance of this with climate change right now. Every now and then a technology or an invention or a discovery comes along and it unlocks the possibility for a tipping point. The advent of lithium-ion batteries, it was an important breakthrough in the energy density and weight ratios. And as a result of this, it unlocked the possibility for portable electronics. This in turn enabled another tipping point. The second we could hold a computer in our hands and load apps from the cloud, a whole host of things changed. And essentially, the mobile phone ate hundreds of purpose-built devices, everything from GPS devices to pencil and paper to cameras to flashlights to compasses to weather stations. And we saw an irrevocable change in our state of being and all of the economics that went along with all of those devices. And with that smartphone in combination with the internet, inherently a two-way pipe, everybody became a content creator. We all had a camera with us, and we unlocked the bottleneck, which was mass distribution. We shifted paradigms. We went from 1 to 1 million, and we became millions to millions through social media. And one by one, text, video, sound, it was all democratized. Today, all human knowledge as we know it has become instantly accessible, and the language of humans can now be understood by machines. Generative AI is clearly another tipping point. It's hard to predict what exactly is going to change, but the future is hungry and it's coming for the present. And one thing is certain, it will eat the present. Today we largely take identity for granted. It's experienced as friction in our lives like a speed bump in our daily commutes. It's so embedded we hardly think about it. In this reality, it's easy to miss the forest through the trees. Identity's purpose isn't to ensure only the right people get in. Obviously, that's important. But secure access is only the photograph, not the movie. In societal terms, the world has become flat. It's now possible to engage with everyone in a moment's notice. And in that reality where transactions are happening faster and more frequently than ever before, in this larger context, identity's purpose is bigger than we use it daily. In this reality, identity's purpose is to act as the steel thread that connects our past with our future. It's to connect action with consequence over time. So if we step back and we look at identity through the lens of a cradle-to-grave set of interactions, a story with many chapters, the role of identity from the societal point of view is to understand how to interact with us. You see, having an identity in the societal context, it allows us to bear witness and to hold account one's words and actions over a long period of time. It allows us to connect the dots between our say-do ratio. We loosely refer to this as one's reputation. It's the shadow cast by one's actions. It's the echo of one's character. And the reason it's important is that it's a proxy or a predictor for future outcomes. Your reputation is built on the past, but it does indeed precede you. In the physical world, your reputation precedes you at the speed of gossip. In the digital world, it precedes you at the speed of light. So take care. As we all move through life engaging with others, our past accumulates. And it does become a predictor of the future. Our reputational exhaust is meaningful. It's meaningful in profound ways in that it will open doors or close doors before we ever actually realize it. So here's the point. The purpose of identity isn't simply to enable appropriate access. It's to make sense of the past, all of the various personas of our past, in a manner that makes our lives better, protects things that we care about, doesn't just allow the good people in, keeping the bad people out. It's about opening doors for our future in new relationships and new transactions. So in businesses and life, you'd be advised to move at the speed of trust, but no faster. Knowing what you're being asked to trust and the limits of that trust, it has meaning. Today, our digital identity is fractured. It's siloed. We're the same person physically, moving throughout time and space, engaging with others, but our personas are not connected. Our digital identity doesn't represent the same unified, cohesive essence of our physical beings. Instead, we're represented by thousands of digital fragments scattered throughout all of the identity and access management systems that we run on behalf of our users, each one only representing a slice of who we are. In this fractured reality, we have to prove things about ourselves over and over again. New interactions by default start from zero trust, and we're forced to discover one another over and over again. This isn't true everywhere. We have FICO scores that track our reputation for paying bills on time. We have good driver scores that allow insurance companies to lower our rates. But by and large, we're essentially Humpty Dumpty in the digital world. 1,000 fragments scattered everywhere. Identity's event horizon is when this becomes not true. When you can show up as you with your reputation intact, when we can create new relationships that borrow from the past to open new doors to our future at greater speed and with more accuracy and a higher degree of confidence. When we evolve from this fractured, siloed personas with low to no trust at first interaction to a rich and trusting relationship out of the gate. Identity's singularity moment will have arrived when identity-based trust becomes ubiquitous. In this future, transactions become more trustworthy, on day one. And the friction of discovery and trust building in a silo is replaced by the ability to transact with confidence. This future is actually inevitable, and it will be driven, like all things are driven, by economics. It's crazy that in this world, with all of our tech, we can't prove anything about ourselves digitally in new relationships. We spend billions and we lose trillions every single year as a result of this. That's got to change. So let's talk a little bit about what happens beyond the singularity moment, the moment at which identity-based trust becomes ubiquitous. Let's talk about what's on the other side of that reality. In a world where identity-based trust is ubiquitous, people will hold in their possession digital proofs that relying parties can verify. It's not what we say about ourselves, it is what is verifiable by third parties that has true weight in society, making it possible to move from low trust to high trust in milliseconds. The second thing is that the act of verifying your real identity and authenticating will be so seamless, you won't be able to tell the difference between the two and today's authentication systems. Those are separated today because there is no way for us to prove anything about ourselves in a new remote digital transaction. That has to change. The third thing is, we'll graduate from a focus on managing identities. And the evolution of that, I refer to as management by identity. When we have our preferences intact and when we can portray our preferences because we carry them with us and we can share them digitally, the world reorients based upon our identity. Today it's called personalization. It isn't done that well. I mean, frankly, short of videos and video feeds, the world does not orient itself to treat us the way we want to be treated because we don't have a way to uniformly digitally portray our preferences. That will change. Our identity systems will evolve to incorporate even more data and signals so that we can make access control decisions in real time. We're far beyond the moment in time where static controls, static policies for who gets in is actually going to be good enough. The speed with which our identities will be compromised is faster than ever before. It will take everything in our arsenal in order to understand what is authentic. Today we live in a world of privacy by regulation. And the reason is because as little people, big tech has discovered that there is a lot of money in predicting our behavior. And so the only way that we can combat that is through regulation that forces amount of consentive sharing of our identity information. But all that identity information sits outside of our control. In the future, we need to retrain the world to ask us. But we need a way to actually share those preferences, if you will, in that data in a standardized format. So we need to move from privacy by regulation to privacy by control. Today's focus on identity infrastructure, moving it to the cloud, centralizing identity controls, eliminating passwords, all of this is infrastructure. In the future, we'll spend a lot less time figuring out, which digital credential providers we actually trust. We're going to create trust circles amongst all of our business partners. So we will move from infrastructure to ecosystems of trust. And lastly, zero trust by default will give way to verified trust by design. This is a big step. With all the talk around don't trust the user, the network, or the device by default, verify everything. We have no way to verify everything ahead of time because we haven't designed a system that allows us to carry with us on our person proofs about ourselves that we can share with others, that actually can be verified by a trusted third party. So this is a world envisioned by decentralized identity. A world where you and I can put verifiable credentials, proofs about us, in our wallet, on our phone, in our pocket. Where verified trust becomes a form of packaging our past and making it portable so that we can present it to our future. And this is the world that we are building at PING with NEO, our decentralized identity solution. It's designed to help put people more in control. You and I are the third and most important leg to the identity stool. And NEO is one of the technologies that we're developing to make that future world a possibility. So I'll leave you with two thoughts. In a truly connected world, your identity is your bank account, and your reputation is your currency. Your reputation is not simply the foundation from which your legacy will be built. It's the foundation from which your future will be unlocked. And with that, I am thankful to be here for the 15th year. You guys are all wonderful. Take this seriously. Your reputation is the point. Our jobs as an industry is to make your past portable into your future in positive ways that open doors and fundamentally give you more control. Thank you.